Hello, welcome to What the Flick. It's a very special What the Flick because we're going to talk about a commercial. We don't
Wait a
usually
minute.
do this. Wait.
We're talking about Power Rangers again?
Again. We're
Smurfs
talking,
again?
We're talking about Smurfs again. So there was this Kylie. I keep saying Kylie, like name that Jenner. Kendall did this Pepsi ad, which then infamously.
They're very different.
Are they though?
This would have been a better ad with Caitlyn Jenner.
Which one's dating Tyga? I don't know. So thank you. So anyway, this really terrible Pepsi ad starring Kendall Jenner used to exist in the world, and then Pepsi took it down, but it's still out there.
Oh, it's still out there.
among us.
Yeah.
Please take a look.
You better know who we are. Oh, we are the lions. We are the chosen. We gonna shine now the dark. Yeah, we are the movement. This generation. You better know who we are. Oh, we are the lions. We are the chosen. We gonna shine now the dark. We are the movement, this generation.
So, thirsty?
There's thirst going on here for sure.
Not for a soft drink.
Where to begin? I mean, I suppose on one hand I want to applaud them for trying to take advantage of the cultural moment. You know, there was a joke on the Pod Save America podcast that protests are the new brunch, because like for a while, like every weekend morning there was another one. You know,
And you can go drink after them.
But I think, but this is actually, I think, sort of reducing protests to just being actual brunch, and so it kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, like all those signs that just say peace. It reminded me of the movie Where Angels Go, Trouble Follows, where Stella Stevens plays a rebellious young nun who's always getting arrested at protests, and the protests are always a bunch of very clean-looking hippies holding signs about peace. Like there's nothing specific enough to offend anybody. There's no signs in this about like Black Lives Matter or about women's rights or about things that people are actually taking to the streets about because Pepsi wants to sell to everybody. So it's who doesn't like peace?
You don't want to alienate anybody.
I don't like
What
peace.
cracks me up about this is that the aspirational nature of this, like that it means to be significant and relevant and about something, and it has a beginning and a middle and an end. It's 2.5 minutes long. Like it's a mini movie, and it asks us to accept that Kendall has this arc, this emotional arc that she got woke in 2.5 minutes, and that because of it, we're all going to go out and buy soda. Like we were talking about this earlier. We're talking about Pepsi, but are you going to go out and buy a Pepsi now? Like probably less now than ever, I would say.
No, Pepsi still sucks.
Diet Pepsi is good.
I like Pepsi Throwback because it's got the sugar in it and it's easier to find sometimes than Mexican Coke. But yeah, I mean, yeah, on the one hand, we are talking about Pepsi, and that's certainly the point of it.
Yeah, we're talking about how dumb they are.
But yeah, we're also we're gonna point at it and laugh in the grocery store.
This
So
is,
you know,
yeah, you know, I can't help but think, is this just this half-baked? It's not half-baked. They spent some money and they shot this through, and somebody wrote this.
they wrote Asian cellist. You know?
Right, but you have to wonder,
Get me
like,
an Asian cellist.
I can only, you know, I've worked at an agency for a couple years, and I can only imagine that at some point somebody was pitching to the client, somebody on the agency side was pitching to the client, like, look, this is gonna be the 2017 version of Coke and a Smile, right? It's gonna be, I'd like to buy the world a Coke.
Right.
That's what we're gonna do, but it's gonna be a modern thing. We're gonna acknowledge the protests and the, you know, and the resistance and all of this stuff, and we're gonna have Kendall get woke, and it's gonna be amazing.
And she's gonna bring the cops and the kids together.
And it's gonna be a cultural moment. And somebody at the client, somebody at Pepsi was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm
Probably
sure
a lot of people were like,
probably
yeah,
a lot, well,
okay, right?
maybe, right? Like somebody thought this was a good idea. And so then they shot, I mean, that's the funny thing is knowing how this all goes into it. Like somebody shot that probably 8 or 9 months ago, right? Like somebody shot this, yeah. Like you don't just turn that around. Like the production time, like you shoot this, I mean, maybe like at least 3 months ago.
You don't think this is a post-Trump ad?
Maybe 3 months ago, like we're in the post-Trump era, but I think it's probably like maybe they shot it like right around
But that first weekend is probably when the idea was hatched,
or
right?
maybe
When
like
all those
right after
the Women's
protests
March,
began.
Might have been right after the election, right? Like maybe they shot it right after the election. It's within the last 3 or 4 months. So yeah, maybe it is a post-Trump, so to speak. But this is bananas. And I guarantee you, you know, the agency I worked at is legendary for dropping this ad, introducing a car brand and never showing the car.
Right.
Mistakes
happen.
I didn't work
Mistakes
on
were
that
made.
campaign. Mistakes were made. So this one, like, you got to figure people over there like, oh my God, what have we done, right? Like, they were all proud of it, and then there's this whole backlash, like, oh no.
So
no.
are heads rolling, or the fact that we're all talking about it enough to save someone?
No, heads are rolling.
Okay.
Heads are rolling.
It had to have been really expensive, as you say.
Yeah.
Because it's a cast of thousands.
Right,
Yeah.
and because it makes
Glossy
them,
production values.
right.
Yeah.
A misfire like that, like, okay, you can look. I think with advertising, it's different. Like, this is going to be seen as a legendary misstep for
It'll be parodied
Pepsi.
for life.
It'll be. I mean, that Mentos ad we just watched, like the
There's a
Mentos.
version.
Yes,
Right.
Look that up.
And
It's
so-
genius.
So honestly, like there'll be a lot of people at the agency like, oh well, we're ahead of the curve. You know, there'll be a lot of denial, a lot of like, oh no, people just this'll. You know,
it's a thinker.
It's a thinker, right? People, you know, it's jury's still out on it.
Right, but it's actually like exactly a parody of what you might imagine a Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad about the resistance would play like
Yeah.
inadvertently so.
Yeah, I mean, unintentional comedy.
Anyway, so
I love unintentional comedy.
So we haven't seen it. I guess we just showed it,
Yeah.
but there's also a Mentos version of
Yeah,
it.
go
just
Google
look
the
at-
Mentos version.
And just
It's
like
pretty
look at
great.
Twitter.
My score is that the Mentos one gets an 8, but the straight up one gets like
yeah.
a 1.
Do you want to score the
Are we
Kendall
scoring
ad?
that?
No.
Sure.
Do you want to
Yes.
score it? All right. So
I give it a 1.
I'll give it a 2.5 for the dancing.
I'm gonna give it like a 2 for the moment that she takes off her wig and like throws it at somebody. Like that's acting. That's her arc, her epiphany.
And because no matter how woke she is, there is always someone there to hold her wig
Hold
for
my
her.
wig.
So we're a 1.8.
And I believe it's a person of color who she hands the wig to as well.
Well,
There you
of course.
go.
There you go.
So it's not good, but enjoy watching it. Bye.